And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome down to the CoasterGen Show, Season 2, Episode 2. And today I'm joined by Sean from ParkSpill, Mikhile, and James. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Good, I'm
Doing
good.
well.
Awesome.
Good stuff, good stuff. So we have quite a bit to talk about. Obviously, we've got to talk about the sad news of obviously Germany's parks closing due to lockdown, and you've got France as well. And Disneyland, Disney themselves laying off a lot of staff due to this. What do you guys make of all this going on?
It's just
Go first.
it's sad, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
very sad.
horrible. Like I mean, it's one of these things where it's like you can understand they've been massively hit, and you know they are looking at that. At the end of the day, like theme parks are run by accounts. Like you can't get a new coaster, you can't get anything like that unless you're making money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But a company the size of Disney, like. I put on my Twitter, they're like they're slowly getting rid of the heart and soul of the park.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, they could say they offer some of the best attractions, but there's so many parks around the world that are offering just as good, if not better, immersive experience as Disney. So they haven't got that monopoly anymore. But what makes them so special is especially like their entertainment teams and how like helpful and nice and happy their cast members genuinely seem, not just like a fake side of it as well. So I don't know, it's just I feel like they could have done more to keep them on. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it, where we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I mean, if you look at the size of, for example, like Walt Disney World, how many staff they employ, like, hotel and behind the scenes. And I mean, that's like thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And they're at reduced capacity. So they don't need all them people. They've shut most of their hotels at the minute.
Yeah. And all the food stalls were closed. I mean, it was a prominent theme throughout the whole of Disney. When I was watching Tim Tracker during lockdown, he was going out there and still showing what's available for people to do. This was in America, obviously, it's Florida, but yeah, like you could tell, like Universal themselves, like all the food stalls closed, all of like the bars and restaurants were hardly anything on the menus. The lack of atmosphere that these places have, and these places, Disneyland, Disney World, rely on atmosphere to create that magic in them places. And without the people, sadly, it's lost it. But it's just so sad for all the staff. We send all our best wishes out to all the staff that have been affected by this, all the cast members, maybe even the engineers as well, because the brides aren't running. Maybe, man, that's so sad. Maybe. Seriously. It's mental. And then you've got like all the German parts closing. They've gone into lockdown. So is it literally just a matter of time until we're at it again?
Yeah, probably, most likely. I think so. And it's, I guess, for our parks, it's not the end of the world because we are coming to the start of the close season anyway. And I mean, some of the pictures from Blackpool, Pleasure Beach, for example, it's deserted, man. It's absolutely deserted. And
if you like Icon and you live in Blackpool, go now.
it's half term and there's no one there, so it's there's gonna come a point where they're gonna, I don't know, with Blackpool maybe not, because they are quite just, I mean, they'll run the big one in a literal storm, so they'll just keep going until they have to close or whatever. But I can see it happening pretty soon. But
for me, like with the just to go back to Disney real quick, just with all the layoffs that they've had, and with Disneyland Paris closing temporarily as well, it's just like it seems like other parks that are closing, they're going to be able to eventually reopen and just start making some kind of revenue after we eventually get past all of the quarantines and lockdowns and stuff.
Mhm.
But with Disney, that it just seems like they've been so much more compromised by the pandemic than almost everybody else, because of the nature of their business, them being in entertainment and
Shows,
so many
live action, all that stuff.
Exactly. So many areas and departments of their company, of their like holistic company, have been just decimated by the pandemic. And it is sad to see all of the cast members on Twitter, expressing their
I mean, there's been loads of stories as well. Like, people have come out, like, 17 years I've worked at this park and it's my job and all this, and I can't name specific instances, but I've seen them.
Yeah.
Like,
there's the Hoop Did Do. They've been they're like the longest running show, one of the longest running shows in the world, like 43 years or something.
Is that what Sam was going on about?
Yeah. And there's a lot of them entertainment, especially ones in the hotels and stuff. And they've been going like, and Epcot as well. Like some of them shows have been running for like 20 years. And the thing is with something like Disney is like people who tend to work there. It's not like our parks where there's a lot of people who work at the parks, the just on the ground level anyway.
Yeah.
They might be doing university or college. I know there's a lot of enthusiasts who work there, but with Disney, it tends to be people who want to. It's like their life goal. To work at Disney,
and they work all year round as well. Not like we do not have seasons like us, like all year.
And a lot of them live in house as well. So it is like their way of life. So for this to happen to them is like, it is like their life. It's like your life goal to work for Disney, like the Disney parks, because you love them so much. It's just it's heartbreaking.
I know people who that is accurate for.
Yeah.
I've made friends who have so many. I've got a bunch of friends who have moved or plan to move down to Florida in the hopes of working for Disney in some capacity, and it's
so crazy because when I was there back in March, like I remember like overhearing a conversation with I was in the Haunted Mansion shop.
No, he was in the Slinky Dog Coaster queue. That's the best ride there. Right? I so want to go on that ride.
Which ride was that?
The Slinky Dog Coaster one. It looks awesome.
It's so good. It's such a good ride. But yeah, I was in the Haunted Mansion shop, and there was like this 8-year-old girl asked the woman who worked there, like, I want to work for Disney. How do you do it? And she like basically gave her loads of like advice and said, this is the steps you have to go to, and blah blah. And even she said, she was like, oh, I've wanted to work since I was your age. It's my dream. So it's just like when you hear these stories, you're like, it's not just like someone working at a theme park who's
it's not
laid off. It's like their actual like goal.
Yeah.
So it's horrible, really.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Theme Park World Tour, who just dropped in the chat. Yes, how are you doing? Check out the latest Holoviz video, guys. The company behind the Wicker Man pre-show and all that stuff. It's really good, and it's like got this again, like theme park videos at the moment, just like. Really strange. Like, you just interviewed Holoviz and it's got 300 odd views. I was watching it. I was like, I'm absolutely in awe of what I'm seeing on the screen in front of me. Like, what? Like, come on. Yeah, guys. So head on over there. Make sure you subscribe as well. But like literally, it's just the magic of Disney. Like, it's everything. It's the music, it's the shows, it's the food, it's the entertainment, the fireworks, the fountain shows, the whole gathering of events that happens at Disney.
And what drives all those things? It's just the people there, isn't it? It's not the ride hardware.
No, it's not.
It's the people.
It's not. I mean, you close all the rides at Towers, you get a garden walk. Do you know? And that's been proven. That's the truth. That's been proven.
Yeah, that's what happened earlier in the year, wasn't it?
And it's one of them. It's just so sad.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing as well, is the fact that, like, okay, look at Universal, right? It's not as much. It's not as bad as. It's not as bad for Universal if they don't have street entertainment.
No.
They don't have like the bars open. That's not as important to them as it is for Disney. They can still operate because people mainly go for the rides with Disney, especially in Magic Kingdom. Like, people go there for the Disney experience. Like, it's not just about the rides. It's the whole package. That's why people pay like thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to be there. Is everything. Even the hotel, even being at the hotel and having the entertainment, like without that, like what have they got? Yeah, they've got like Galaxy's Edge. That's really it. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of like the main attractions at the minute. So
it's really interesting to think about the competition between Universal and Disney now moving forward, especially for next year and stuff, because like you said, people are gonna go to Universal for their ride hardware and the themed experiences that Universal offers through their ride hardware, and especially with something with the magnitude of Velocicoaster opening next year.
Yeah,
and if it's been said that potentially Tron Light Cycle Run and the new Guardians coaster at Epcot may be delayed until 2022.
Yeah.
So if they get delayed and Velocicoaster is able to open next year and Universal gets an influx of guests because of that,
yeah,
it spells trouble for Disney, for Walt Disney World at the very least, competition wise.
Yeah.
Especially you can even see it now. Going back to the entertainment, what was it? Universal Orlando just started a new fireworks spectacular.
Yeah,
I swear that was like within the last week or something like that.
It was.
And SeaWorld has a new one as well.
Someone's just put in the chat, I think it was Kyle P, said that SeaWorld now has more entertainment than Disney.
Yeah.
I think Towers does, to be honest. Alton Towers probably does.
Yeah. Just a quick one. Ben, thank you for donating. I appreciate that. At the moment, I'm unable to go to the Streamlabs dashboard because I'm actually displaying my whole screen. That's the way Zoom works. You can't just do it off a window. So if you want to drop in a message into the chat and we'll read it out straight away. Well, thank you so much for donating, Ben. I really appreciate that. Absolutely. It's the normal show they've brought back from Sam. Okay, we've just been Expedition theme packed.
That's who you need to.
That's who you need. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, but no, it's just crazy. Like if you say, Velocicoaster opens, I mean, if you think about the lineup they've got at Universal already, it's enough to just keep the park running anyway. Maybe they should delay. Maybe the state of Florida should be like, delay it. You're not allowed to open it because Disney can't open theirs. It's not fair, man. Like, it's not their fault.
What's not fair?
Opening, having Universal like take everything in Orlando.
Like Disney have been doing that for like years.
Yeah, they have. They've had a massive monopoly over it.
It's only been like it's not been that long since like Universal have been considered to be like I guess equal, if not more. I mean, there's more. I'm saying like as a kind of objective opinion, like
a full thing.
There's a lot of people who have always loved Universal over Disney.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole with obviously like Harry Potter, that changed everything. Like that absolutely just changed the game basically.
That was.
I think
and Disney have got had from the state of Florida a lot of extra perks that other parks haven't been getting.
Yeah.
They have a permanent no-fly zone over Disney.
Oh yeah. I'm not on Flight Simulator though.
It's not meant to have a no-fly zone over a theme park. They've just managed to work out a legality, which means that they can essentially have a no-fly zone permanently over the park. An don't get that.
Yeah, I suppose. They did have a runway though, didn't they, in Disney? Like it was
they bought an
airfield.
Just in the land.
Sam just said Universal have a bunch of closed rides at the moment too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's such a shame, but Fast and Furious is shut.
Oh no! Oh no, Sam, what are you gonna do, man?
Oh God,
what's happening?
We're gonna cry.
Now he's just got a ride Forbidden Journey. Like what?
I loved his last video where it was he kept on. I think was it the Italian Job where it was like talking about movie rides and he was like he just went to Face Off and he kept on showing Face Off.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme now, isn't it? Face Off.
Talking about you, Face Off.
I can't wait until the Wicker Man because I'm sure there's going to be some Nicolas Cage references in that.
Oh, well, if there isn't, then disappointed. Has to be. Yeah,
that's a miss trick.
Someone put Dave the Rave put. Imagine all this does make you wonder though. What would Walt think of all this when it was going on, like to his company, or like, do you think he would have tried to keep everyone? Like, I know hypothetically speaking, it can't be, but I think he might have. I think he might have tried to keep staff on as long as he could. I don't
know. I think there's a lot to be said whether, like, obviously he had this plan. Like, he died way before, like, Walt Disney World is even off the ground. So I think, like, that era of what would Walt do is obviously very much over now. It's
well and truly done.
Like,
yeah,
I don't think a lot of the decisions that they make, like, he would necessarily be doing anyway. Like, obviously when he was around, it wasn't just all IPs. I can understand why the Disney route have gone down, just going down that route of just their own IPs constantly. But
Walt would still have his lamp burning for sure.
it's just a thing where everyone goes, "What would Walt think?" And it's kind of like, I don't know, like, it's not really got anything.
Yeah.
It's so far away from what his plan was. Like,
I know
really
it's mad though.
Really
it's like when you see his plans that he had on that Disney Plus documentary Imagineering, it's chalk and cheese, man. Like,
Joe just put, don't know, to be fair, Walt did have his staff protesting at one point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think, like, I've heard a lot of stories about, like, people who worked at Disneyland when he was around, and he was just the face of it, really. His brother was the mastermind of the business. Obviously he was a creative head, but he was he had the foresight to bring in start Imagineers, and I forgot to say as well, like, 400 of them staff are Imagineers who have been let off, which begs the question of, like, how are they gonna? I don't think they'll be investing in these massive projects again for quite a while now.
For a while.
Yeah, at least. If they're getting rid of, I mean, they haven't got rid of, like, the main people, the main Imagineers, but it's 400 is that's a lot. Like,
that's a lot.
You know what I mean? That's a
lot of people from one department.
Yeah, they're gonna and they obviously, like, I bet it's not easy to become an Imagineer. Like,
no,
that process of getting in that job.
No,
so we're talking about some of the best people at their game.
Absolutely,
like, they're not going to be. I mean, they might be available if they want to rehire them again, but I very much doubt it. Would you want to? It depends how much you love Disney.
I want to see everybody who's a cast member, who's an Imagineer, who's anything at Disney, just when all this finishes, back to doing what they're good at, what they're doing, what they're made to do, what their goal was, like you were saying at the top of the podcast, like, is to be a worker at Disney. I want that to happen so badly. I want these people to go back into what they love.
Sam just raised a great point though. Like, a ton of Universal creative staff got laid off as well. Like,
a lot of them are, because we talked about this, like I think when it happened, weren't it? When a lot of the marketing staff were getting because everyone was praising him for, like, Velocicoaster, like, they're doing so well with this guerrilla marketing campaign. It's like, no, they just haven't got a marketing budget, and they've just realized that they can just let everyone else do the marketing for them. It is true. Like, it is happening at Universal as well, and it's like Sam said, and like we said earlier, it's going to happen to all businesses across the board. But my issue about it is that they have to think about, like, what makes their park special, and that is, like, the creativity, the idea generation behind it, like,
innovation.
I don't know. I guess this is the problem when people do love working so much at these places, is that, like, they will just go back, and it's like most people who work for a company who are not that loyal to it will remember how, like, they were treated. But I guess if you love your job working at these places, you will just probably end up going back. But I don't know. It's like Weatherspoons, man. Like, they were awful, weren't they? Man.
Shocking.
The fact that they just let everyone go straight away
a day before the furlough.
And they just let everyone go, and everyone's like, we won't forget about this in terms of customers and stuff like that. And it was just like, as soon as they were open again, they were just full. Like
Mhm.
I don't know.
Carl raised a question: have Merlin cut any jobs? Haven't heard anything about it.
They prob-
Most Merlin employees are on a 0-hour contract, so they don't have to cut their job. They just don't get hours, basically.
I think when we're talking about like ride ops and hosts and stuff like that, obviously there's a lot of full-time staff as well, because there's a lot of staff there who are ride hosts who in the close season will work the Christmas events, and they'll also just do things like painting, like they'll just do odd jobs. But then you've got the marketing people and everyone like that, and they will work full-time. But as far as I know, and I've been talking to a lot of like the staff recently, like no one's been let go. But this is the thing, like we're talking about Merlin, they haven't got as many assets. Obviously it's still massive, but not as much as like Universal and Disney. They haven't got like probably as anywhere near as many outgoings on a constant basis. So
maybe not when it comes to parks anyway, like parks specifically.
Yeah,
What's
but
that?
I mean, no, but like parks specifically. But I mean, you got to think of the hotels. You've got to think of
Yeah.
resort. You know, like even mechanics. You know, like everything. Really, they have everything. Pool cleaners. Like you can go. You can keep going. You know, it just goes down in a list, and it's just awful. So yeah, like we said, we just wish everybody all the best. You know. And just stay safe, guys, and just look after yourselves. And we hope that if you have lost your job due to COVID, it doesn't matter in anything. But
it's anything really, isn't it?
Yeah, we hope you get back on your feet, and we're all behind you, guys. We really are. Like everybody who's been affected, I've been affected. We've all been affected by it. So just stay strong, stay safe, and you'll come out the other side. Like we did do last time, we'll do it again. So. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I mean that's the same with us. Like my business, I run a video production business. We've got staff. We put them on furlough. Like we could have let them go. We could have done a lot of stuff to save our own skin. But I think it comes down to like, morals at the end of the day. And that's
and you know who you want to work with, right? You've got these people working for you for a reason. And
it's the thing. When Disney said, we know that our kind of staff, our cast members, is what make Disney. But can we talk about Sam just said, can we talk about pizza fries? Alton versus Universal. Need to hear Sean defend Alton food.
Pizza fries.
It's like a before and after picture.
My opinion on that was I'd have both, but I'd have the Alton ones for dessert because they look cold.
What is this pizza fries?
You'll have to check on his Twitter.
Go on to Sam's Twitter and see that. Okay. Like, because I saw this like weeks ago, man, and it made me laugh so much. I'm not defending them fries because I had the veggie chili con carne fries from the same stand. And it was like they just poured some tin tomatoes.
Oh, I've seen it.
It was ridiculous. But no, my point was.
God.
You could show a picture.
God.
That was the best reaction ever.
They are pathetic.
That's the best reaction ever. It's like when
Universal Orlando actually commented on it.
Yeah,
as well.
Sean, did you see the nacho picture I sent to Joe when I was in Woodcutters?
Yeah, but the thing is, mate, I don't think they look good, mate. I've got to say, no. Because when someone says nachos they're deep fried. They are proper nachos. When someone just says like there's a difference between nachos and Doritos.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I get that, but but what I had at Blackpool Doritos. Was literally a cinema. That was a cinema movie. That was a cinema movie. Yeah, cinema movie. That was a cinema meal.
Yeah,
like what you would get. Like literally, you should have an ice blast next to it. Well, there is one, but it's way back there when you sat in that restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, but at Towers, it was like just all there.
Yeah. I honestly think like Well, I'm not
Old
saying
folk
it's good
factories.
food. I'm not saying it's good food by like Disney's and Universal standards, but I think Alton Towers, in terms of like park food, is actually like pretty decent now. It
Yeah.
didn't used to be.
The
I
steak
think
from Woodcutters is sweet.
Yeah, I
Woodcutters,
woodcutter's
yeah.
steak is amazing.
if you, Woodcutters is good. Like if you had that at a pub, you would be like, "This is good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like pub grub, isn't it? Really, and I think
just
That's
so
what I
good.
like about it.
yeah, and same with like Roller Coaster Restaurant. That's hit and miss because sometimes they do really good
I've
food.
never had it.
But it depends
I really
how
wanted
long
to
it's
go.
been sat in that little bowl. Because sometimes you can just get like a steamed burger because it's just been in that.
Do you know what
little
I don't
thing.
like about the roller coaster restaurant is the inconsistency of service. You can go one day and it can be absolutely flawless and
Yeah.
your meal will arrive straight away. And then you can go another day and because the rails broke or whatever, you don't get your food for 45 minutes. There's been
Yeah.
3 occasions where I've been with Mike, Stacey, Tom, and James Salter, and we've been sat there. We've had our meals and Mike's steak still hasn't come. Like, there's
Yeah,
been 3 occasions of that
Wow.
happening. Ridiculous.
that's when you gotta turn into a map mum at that point. You gotta put your foot down.
Map character.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Map-
Manager now.
To be fair, they did like get a bit out of it, so it was alright.
This is the thing. Like, I think they're pretty good. Like, this is it. Like when people turn around and say,
Pizza
"Oh, I
pasta.
had a cold bit of food off that." I'm like, "Did you go and tell them?" No, or no. Well, you tell them. Like, they can't taste your food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, go and say, like, it's
Should have
cold.
stayed cold,
Like,
innit?
you know, it's cold. This is what I did when I had cold chips not long ago. I went, "These are cold," and they went, "Oh yeah, sorry about that," and then just gave me fresh chips. I'm like,
Yeah.
Don't ask, you don't get.
Literally, like that. Yeah, that's
That's
one
one of the
things.
things that I hated working in like food and beverage kind
Yeah.
of industry is someone would eat an entire meal or
Yeah.
have an entire drink and then moan about it afterwards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Too late
you've
now, mate.
eaten
But
it.
it's about how you say it as well, though, isn't it? You go up to
Can't
it, you
really-
say it in a nice way. You go, "Oh, sorry, mate, but these look a bit." You don't go, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
can I see your manager? These are the coldest chips I've ever had in my life." You know what I mean? Just ask nicely.
Throw 'em at him.
Because
Chips
people aren't going to help
everywhere.
you if you're an idiot. Like, that's it. Like, people are less likely to help you if you're an idiot about it. So I don't know. But
Somebody
yeah.
said pizza pasta. What do you think of pizza pasta?
I think it's
alright.
worth. It's
I think it's
worth
getting
the
better.
money.
I think it's
Yeah,
getting
I wouldn't
better.
say it's like outstanding,
No.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but it's worth the price it is. Like,
Yeah.
well, I guess
If you're
you got
freaking
your-
hungry, it's a good place
Yeah.
to go. Like if you're proper hungry.
I'm not checked it out this year, so I don't know if it's like still as good because I don't know how they're doing the whole. Because it used to be takeout, but now they've got the
Do
sitting
table
side.
service now, is it? Is that what they're doing?
It wouldn't be. I don't know if it would be. Maybe it is.
I
But
don't know. If someone knows in the comments, let us know.
because we saw it opening day and it was you got an entire pizza.
yeah,
in a
you got an
takeout
entire-
box.
Yeah, your entire pizza and a drink. I think it
Yeah.
was something.
yeah, it's not bad. But I think it's good for the money.
And it was
Yeah.
cheaper than the buffet as well. It was just the cost of one pizza. Because they know if you paid a buffet price, you can eat more than one pizza in a sitting. I know I can.
It's the garlic bread for me, man. Pizza pasta. Like
I feel
that
like
is
now.
just-
I feel like now's the perfect time. I feel like now's the perfect time to shout out the waffle I had at Towers. last
Oh, the
month.
waffle that I had as well, man.
Oh
That
my
was
god!
nice. Belgian
The
chocolate
waffles
waffle.
are pretty decent. I do like the waffles.
I
wanted to try the toffee.
I had
afterwards.
one.
That
I
was
had one from
amazing.
Thorpe. It was kind of meh.
Yeah, sometimes again,
dunno.
sometimes it can come like just like cold, and then you
Yeah,
just,
that's what I had. Mine
yeah,
was
you
kind of
just-
cold. It was like,
it's like one of them. Do you remember them? I don't know if anyone had them waffles you put in like the toaster.
I
like-
really
Yeah.
like
Remember?
them.
I have
I
them
really
regularly.
like
It
them.
was like, but sometimes they come like that, but uncooked, like how I imagine like
Yeah.
eating it just like raw.
Yeah,
like, well, not raw,
they
but-
they
yeah.
only work when they're cooked
yeah, exactly
really
So,
nicely.
Yeah,
Nice,
Yeah.
nice
if
and
you've got a
hot.
good
Oh,
person on, then they are really good.
Hot
They're
chocolate, hot poured chocolate over it, cream on top, hundreds of thousands of sprinkles, whatever. You're laughing, absolutely laughing. Chocolate sauce, whatever. It's so nice. Like it was the thing with Towers waffle is you could just get a waffle and go sit on the lawn on a bench. That was what I loved about it so much. You could just like chill out. I just
That's
loved it.
literally what we did.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
so
mad.
good.
It's big. It's crazy because like now they've got that, it's so much better.
Yeah,
you can just
'cause-
go chill there. Because like before that, like you'd have to go sit on the lawn,
I'll
Like,
walk
me and
around.
Joe
I'll
have gone
find a
and sit-
rock.
sit on the lawn, and you get attacked by like 10 ducks.
Hey, don't call the ducks. Don't start
We
with the
had that
ducks.
so many times, man. Like them ducks can be lethal.
Yeah, they can.
Like,
That's what you mean.
They're great,
cute.
but when they're near
They're
food,
waffles.
damn.
Yeah, like they can be absolutely lethal. So at least like we've got that, and like the beer, being able to. I know it's like they've had to do it because of like the pandemic and stuff, but being able to order a beer to your table is like the best thing ever, man. Like just sitting there at Towers and just being like, yeah, I'll have that. They bring it over. So it's the easiest thing ever. Like it's so good.
It makes you wonder why they haven't done it. Like,
because
I
Hey,
think
Sean,
I
I
think
need
they
to
continue
experience
to
what
work,
having a
isn't it?
beer with you is
I'll
like.
think they continue. Yeah, I think they'll continue doing it in the future. And I seriously hope they bring back Oktoberfest.
I don't know if they will, because it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't make a difference to them if people have to queue up or not. It's from the customer's side, isn't it? But if they're really busy, it would be annoying. But that's why they halved all the benches, because at Oktoberfest there was like hundreds of benches.
Yeah.
And Scarefest there's like they've more than halved them. So like the reason for that was because everyone was like obviously sitting so far apart from each other that it wasn't working doing it that way. So now they've managed to get that little oozy boozy place, contained it to that one area.
It's the best name ever.
I love that it's called Oozy Boozy.
Oozy boozy, it's great. But yeah, no.
Yeah, this is now a food review channel.
Yeah, we're now.
Yeah, it goes off topic like normal, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. All right, so back on track. Monster at Groninland. Let's talk about that. The B&M that we mentioned last week.
I need it.
It's
looking good.
It's still going, and it's now got an inversion after the first drop. It looks like a 0G. Is it a 0G? I think it's a 0G.
Yeah, it's two
right?
0Gs.
It's a 0G roll, yeah.
Yeah, there's two 0Gs and a corkscrew. Is that it?
Also, I remember
there's-
seeing the other angle of it, and it is literally next to the water.
Yeah, it's over water.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to get the
So
images
good.
together for this show, guys, so I can't put the images up. I apologize for that, but I mean, go and check it out. It's all over the place. Just type it in on Google. Like.
Have you seen? Because obviously, has anyone been to Groninland here? I'm
No,
guessing
no.
I really want to go. It looks so
Yeah, it
good.
looks cool.
It's it's like Blackpool, how it's like so
Yeah.
compact.
Yeah.
And there's a picture, I can't find it now, but there's a picture of one of the supports literally going like through a building. Like it's a bit like, you know, like the Smiler support.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
but even Towers has that where it is the support is going.
They were like, we're not getting rid of these toilets. They can stay.
Toilets are staying.
We'll have to make the most complicated support system ever, but they're staying.
Yeah. Them supports of the toilets on the Smiler are hilarious. John Waddy was speaking about it a little bit on the seminar that he did. It was like, we had to build over. We had to go over a bit further over so we could come back over the toilets and support the actual track and from underneath, and we couldn't actually reach, so we had to bring it in, which is crazy when you think about it. But man,
It is mad.
toilet, just move the freaking toilet. Like it's just a shed, like with tiles.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? It's because like the plumbing, though, isn't it?
They're
Like,
they're really the only toilets in that area.
I know why. It's
quite
because
a
you can see
while.
the toilets from the trees, and they can't build another one, so it's too high. That's probably why.
Right, yeah.
That's probably why.
That's
Probably
the
don't
thing.
have
You can't build
permission.
anything.
No, they
there
can't build
without-
anything.
It's so crazy.
It makes you
It's
think, how did he
mental.
get away with putting like a skirmaze in the towers? Like how did he?
Because it's temporary. It's temporary.
is that what it
it's
is? It's
Not,
temporary.
it's
They're not making
yeah.
any physical changes to the building.
Yeah, because it is like if you go around the attic, you can see like all the original old fireplaces where they did the sleepover. You know, and they did the sleepover at the towers.
That looks so good.
Yeah, if you go, it's in the like the part towards the end. You can
Did you
start
do it?
seeing all the different. I didn't do it, but
Oh, man.
I watched multiple videos about people.
Yeah,
doing it.
it looks mental.
But that's one of the areas they did it in. So it's like they can get away with that sort of stuff. Like a lot of people disagree with it. Like you shouldn't mess with the towers, but I'm like, I mean, they're keeping up. You know, that at least they're keeping doing these kind of scare mazes. There actually like funds them. So
Yeah.
to keep on top of it, and you know they look in a sorry state anyway. So it's not like they're going to do any damage.
Yeah,
I think
Good point. I didn't actually think about that because it's temporary. Yeah.
yeah, temporary.
And-
So then it's okay.
And they also restrict the area. It's not like they're using the entire towers. They're using a little section of it,
True.
which they can have extra staff to maintain that one little bit. So
Yeah,
they don't end up doing any major kind of damage or anything to
No,
it.
I get that. It's just the fact that they can't build the slightest bit of high coaster, but they can build in the towers that they're trying to protect, and that's so protected. It just
No, I know what you mean, because they
Winds
can't. They
me up.
couldn't do. They couldn't. They can't. Obviously, they can't build anything in the gardens because they're listed gardens as well, which I didn't even know was a thing until I heard about the list.
Sam said, "Wait, you mean I didn't really go into a mine shaft?"
You did, Sam. You did.
No, you did. No, that was
yeah,
actually
yeah,
like the
you
old
did.
mines.
Yeah.
The 15th Phyllis
The wine cellar.
Yeah,
Wine
he
cellar.
had to
mine.
go down the mine shaft to go get his wine.
Yeah,
That's
that's why the cables are still there, and the hard hats are there, so you can see what wine you're picking when you go down. Plus towers have spent millions on the towers. Yeah, well,
They have to.
weird
It's part of their
conversation.
contract.
Yeah, it's literally part of why they're there. Yeah, right. Let's have a look. Something is.
They don't actually own the land.
No, they don't. No.
You know what,
It's
right?
just
If B&M building a ride like that, like Monster,
I was about to say, how did we go from?
I kind of
Monster
feel
Yeah,
to
like I kind of
towers?
feel like
Oh,
we were talking about supports going through.
Supports go through a building. That's why.
I think that the more I see these compact B&Ms now, I think, you know what? I think Blackpool could build one. Like, I actually feel like one could go in at Blackpool at some point.
Or imagine if the original plans for the Smiler.
Oh,
Originally, they were trying to get that to be a B&M.
yes. they
So,
yeah.
imagine if B&M were able to pull off making a Smiler.
I mean,
surely
They
at
just
some
look so,
point.
they look so much more interesting. To me.
Yeah.
Like how
Surely
like,
at some point they'll want to replace Inferno. Like Inferno will put Inferno.
Infusion.
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 Surely that will be like the first to go. I think.
The only problem is, Sean, right, is when we were doing the Lifter walk, and Andy said there's a coaster from every decade lined up right here, and they seem quite proud of that.
Yeah.
I guess so.
But they don't really
I mean,
advertise that. That was the only. It was only mentioned in.
It's
Yeah.
a crap
I
coaster.
know.
Like it's not that.
Yeah,
good.
it's
like you can't.
Yeah, it's crap.
You can't just. It's not
I
like
hate it.
it's not like the big. It's not like the Big Dipper. That is actually like a heritage ride. Do you know what I mean? And it's like.
It's Traumatizer from Southport Pleasureland. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
it's not a good coaster. So
No.
they could.
Oh, Carl,
easily-
don't you dare!
Replacing
just-
with Infusion.
Just for the meme value, please.
I'd take that swap. Yeah, bring Inferno up to Pleasure Beach, man. I'd love that.
At
No,
least-
I was
at least
thinking he was meaning bring Infusion down to Thorpe.
Yeah, that's what he was
That's what-
saying.
that's
That's
what
what
he
he's
said.
saying.
No.
Replace Inferno with Infusion, and I'd be up for that because at least it's got a bit of like it's actually forceful. Like
You don't like
You-
Inferno, do you?
I
I got really pissed off by it the last time I did it because I waited. Look, we waited
Did you get a
so
crap
long
ride?
for it, and I normally am quite a big fan of it. Well, not a big. I wouldn't say a big fan, but I enjoy it for what it is, like a standalone invert. But for me, I mean, I've always said that Inferno is a bit of a lazy design. It's basically like Batman, but not good. Like it's just like the I love the section before the lift hill. I think that's really, really good. I do
Yeah,
love
the
that
free
bit.
lift
And I
bit.
think that is the only thing it's got over Nemesis, and I do like that bit. But the rest of it, like, it's just so forceless. And I think for me, I don't know, everyone's different, aren't they? But for me, with a B&M invert, it needs to be mental. Like, it needs to be like, I need to get back to the station and be like, what did I just experience? And me and Joe, like the one we did like the other week, we just stopped.
You
and
didn't
was just
seem
like,
happy after that.
What
I was like,
that?
"Ooh."
It was like, that is like someone's put it in chicken mode. Like, what's going on? Like,
it's funny with inverts because like they kind of do range from like elite of elite down to just maybe like okay, that was fun, all right, what's next? Because like you look at something like Silver Bullet, just off the top of my head, Silver Bullet at Not Spray Farm, I don't really think that one's all that good. Great Bear at Hershey Park, I know a lot of people like that, but I don't really rate it that much as well. And like I don't particularly rate what Dueling Dragons or Dragon Challenge was either, apart from the fact that they dueled. But like from there you go all the way through Afterburn, and then you got Nemesis, and then obviously like Montu, Alpengeist, Katun, and all of those, and it's like they go from all right to, you know, just world
It kind of
class
feels
for
like,
decades.
yeah, it kind of feels like them other ones you mentioned, like the Alpengeist and Nemesis and stuff. It kind of feels like they are what them other ones try to imitate, but with the same layout throughout the world. Like you got the Batman, that clone that is just yeeted across Six Flags parks, and it's like, you know, but it has elements of them original track layouts. So it has the loop, it has the corkscrews, it has the interlocking corkscrews, for example.
Yeah.
But it tries to give you the feeling of Nemesis, what it does on that first, but you can't replicate that. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. But when they build something,
when I do rate these, by the way, I mean comparatively, like in
Yeah,
comparison to each other. They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah,
I get
in
that.
comparison to each other, it's kind of
comparatively, because it's like when I
Yeah.
say like, oh, Inferno's crap, like, it's still a good coaster.
Yeah, it's a great
But
coaster.
Yeah.
I just can't get out of my head, because especially as it's like become very memey at the minute to be like Inferno is better than Nemesis, and it's just like that is the most triggering thing to me. Like I know that most of the time it's just like it's just banter and people like I'm on board with that, and I just give it back. But it's just Inferno. Like you can't compare the two. Like you can compare them because they're called the same thing, but
which they shouldn't have been. That's
what
I would say.
offer.
The only thing I would say seriously is
called
just
Inferno.
Exactly. It should have never been called. It should have just been called Inferno from the start.
Yeah,
Inferno.
Had
they
no
offer
connotations to Nemesis at all, because it has.
They offer completely different experiences, and it doesn't matter how many
to do
times.
with what Nemesis is about.
It doesn't matter how many times I just say to myself, like, just rate it as a standalone coaster. I'm on it going, I just want to be on like.
I just want to be on Nemesis.
But that's what it does to you, though. I mean, it's like, where's the story of Nemesis even in it? Like, there isn't.
No, it's just there's no like, you know.
If there was a story with it and it was packaged up pre-show, maybe like that would change it. But it would. But at least it would add to it. Seriously, they should have just called it Inferno.
I think, but you know, I have to be. I've got to be clear as well. Like, obviously, I have these views because I did Nemesis first, and that's how I think. I personally think that's how like an invert should be, because that's the first one I did. But I guess if someone did like Inferno for the first time, I could understand why people would go onto Nemesis and go, I didn't like that, it was way too like intense and like head banging stuff, because like they're just not used to it. So you know, it is that sort of thing where it's like I can understand why people would prefer Inferno over Nemesis, but just in terms of like the layout of Nemesis, like you can't argue like it's a way better layout. The way
it's original as well
with the terrain. It's just so, and it's like it's an original layout, like, whereas for me, like Inferno, it's not really original. Like it's very samey.
It is kind of half a Batman the Ride, like you said, and half a B&M sit down with the interlocking corkscrews.
It's the end of Dragon Khan. It literally is just the end of Dragon Khan. It's crazy. Like
what you mentioned, Sean, about just illustrating that inverts can be kind of polarizing in themselves. It is. I kind of do agree with that, in just the sense that when you think of, I think when you look at how the general public receive inverts, it's kind of like, I mean, inverts are really kind of in terms of forces, they're positive heavy. Like you're not going to get that many like moments of airtime, and you'll get some whippy laterals in there, but like a good chunk of the forces you're going to experience on them are positives. And when it comes to people just what they want to experience, it's a lot. I've heard a lot of people say like blinding positives isn't always what they're going for. And then you couple that with, you know, if you're not in the front row, you can't really see that much. So I totally understand where people come from, even though like B&M inverts are one of my favorite coaster models of all time. Like I totally understand how like it can go like one of two ways. Like someone can love it, someone can love them, or someone can like really just avoid them.
I always say that's a good measure of a good invert, is if like you can sit on the middle and still have like a really good go on it, like you know it's good. And I feel like with Nemesis, I can go in the middle row and still like just have just as good ride than
Yeah.
if it went on the back or the front. Whereas, you know, when we did Nemesis, it was Nemesis Inferno, it was mid train, and it was just like you say, if there's nothing to look at, all you're experiencing is like the elements and the G's and what it is that's happening.
Just the sensations.
Yeah, it's just a sensation, and it just felt like nothing. Like I would say, even like I would take like Kamali over like Inferno. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of like what it does, for me, what an invert is meant to do.
Kamali's awesome. I was so shocked by that ride. Like,
I was as well, because
I came off it and I was like, what the? Like, I was like, what? I was sat there on the break room, like, okay, you can hear it on the POV that we filmed. That's on the channel. I was like, okay, I see Kamali. And then I got off. I was like, I've just done a smooth. I'm like, I've just done a smooth SLC. Like,
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Like what? I couldn't believe it. Like, and the forces as well it carries out throughout it. That bottom of that drop is insane.
It's good. It's good. It's really
such a good ride,
and it's got like a really good finale as well. I think as well. Like it doesn't just like stop.
No,
do you know what I mean?
It thunders through that helix at the end.
Yeah, that helix is just like perfect
because it drops down. It does a helix and then it drops down and then into the brakes. So you get a little pop of air as well as you go into a little bit negative. And
it's kind of funny that I've not done Kamali yet. I can't believe it.
You need to do it, man.
We'll take a trip out next year if we can, and we'll all. The thing is with Flamingo Land, it's a cool park, it's a quirky park. I just think it's a quirky park. Like they just need to keep adding weird rides. Like,
it's like a mad experiment theme park, isn't it?
Like, I do like that they kind of got that reputation for just kind of like obscure coasters,
which is a bit annoying. Why they've put this 10 version coaster in with lap bars.
I personally,
it doesn't make sense. Why did they just build something original?
I'm a fan of that decision, I've got to say, because
I'm a fan of the ride. I want to ride that ride. If I had the choice of going to Altair in Italy and riding it, I would. Now I can do it at Flamingo Land. It's awesome, but it doesn't line up with the rest of their lineup. Their lineup is all.
Well, I kind of think it does in the sense that before that, like you had Kamali, which, as you guys have said, is a solid in comparison SLC and stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you know, a 1-2 punch, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like what else would you have put in that mix? Because you could make a case for Mumbo Jumbo, I suppose, when looking at everything that they have, but like you would want something a bit of a higher level, a higher standard.
I think this is the thing with what they wanted to go for, was they needed something like an impressive, like you can't really see Kamali that well from when you walk in. Whereas you go into now where the new coaster is going to be,
it's right there.
So it looks so good, and I'm like, really I can't imagine this. That was the first time I've ever been to that park, so I was like, I can't imagine going to this park and not seeing that there, because it's a beast. Like it looks so good. And I think going back to what you were saying, Luke, like, you know, it's they do like quirky rides, and it's not really a quirky ride. I would kind of say, you know, for this, in context of like the UK, it is a little bit quirky because it's Colossus with better trains, and that's what everyone wants. Because most people will say like it's got a great layout, like Colossus has got a great layout, for example, but it's just the trains and the restraints are trash. So if it has got update, I don't know, I'm not seeing any pictures, but if it has got better restraints,
it's got lap bars.
If it's got lap bars, it's going to be a lot better.
You can see the trains on Velocity if you just look to the storage shed on the left. You can see them.
See, that's what I'm looking forward to. So it's like you get. So that the quirk maybe is like you get to ride a better version of Colossus. Like
I like the idea of it being the smoothest coaster on the park as well. But I was thinking more like something big, like a Chance Rides, like Morgan Chance Rides, something like that. Something like, you know,
like a Hyper GTX.
Yeah, like a Hyper GTX. Like, do you know what? I'm gonna say it. Even an RMC in that plot of land would be freaking awesome. Even if it's a small one, that would be freaking awesome. Like, it's a big area. If you rip Colossus out of Fort Park, imagine what you could do. Now imagine what you could build if you had a flat piece of land. Just there.
Someone needs to build a hybrid not GCI. Well, GCI would be awesome, but Gravity Group.
That's where I was going to
go. Gravity Group would be awesome because like no one else has done that. It's really new. Like it's still kind of a new concept. And I don't know, like I think it was like it would fit in with the type of rides they like to go for, which is just like something different. And like Gravity Groups are like considerably cheaper than RMCs. So
they've spent a lot on this coaster. They could probably get 2 Eurofighters for what they spent on this coaster.
They've said that they've spent 20 million.
Shell Raider.
I don't believe that.
They haven't spent 20 million.
I'm sorry,
like,
but
they haven't. Like they haven't.
They must have spent 20 million on transport fees because that coaster's been everywhere before it went to Flamingo Land.
No, I reckon whoever I can't remember who sold it to
P&O ferry charges for wagons.
It's been sat in a warehouse for like how many years? I bet whoever had it were just like, we'll pay the fees. Can you just take it?
They got it on Spock.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
Marketplace.
The amount of money that they'd have to spend purely on getting the track inspected.
Yeah.
They would have had to go through an ultrasound the entire track.
Yeah.
I think
with it being sat in storage, they need to check for internal cracking.
Which is
ultrasounding the entire track.
If they have paid that much money for it, then they're pretty stupid. But
and also completely new footers as well, because all the
footers were already in Brazil. Yeah.
I don't know whether or not like they are counting as, because like I think when like most parks say this 13 mil,
I'll tell you now, definitely not marketing. Nothing's gone into marketing yet. I can tell you that much. Nothing.
But normally what they'll say is like if a coaster's like 13 mil, for example, like that's how much the coaster actually is. But are they counting like, kind of like everything else that goes into it? Like as in like
they
the
might
transport,
be,
the like just doing the terrain, theming, are they counting that? Because then it is. But if there's paid that much for it, they could.
I don't think it's 20 mil straight out for the coaster.
Nah, it's not for the coaster.
Everything.
There's no way.
I don't think it could. No, it's got to be it. Like that's why I made the joke. It's got to be for the transport. It's got to be. I think
what was the other coaster that got built? Same type.
Alter.
Can't remember the name of it.
Alter.
That was it.
See how much that was. CoasterGen Elves are right. Here he goes.
What park was it?
Cena City World.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how to spell that.
just type it in Google. It'll find it for you.
Alter coaster. There we go.
Airtime, John, in the chat.
Hey, what's happening, John?
How's it going, man?
Let's have a look to the chat while James is doing that. Let's have a look. Bagging basement coaster. Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man? There's a lot of new people in.
A couple of people have been mentioning like a GCI or a Gravity Group to.
Yeah, sure, man. I mean,
I was thinking that to follow up this to follow up the the Intermintent Looper. That would be such a good addition.
Yeah, because that would be more. How many coasters would that be? That'd be Velocity, 10 Inverted, Kumali, Mumbo Jumbo,
Hero.
Oh god, no, that's not a coaster. That's a washer.
They have so much land. Like,
5. So that'd be 5 coasters. So
no,
there's other rides. There's a few other like little rides and stuff. They've got a pretty decent water ride, which I didn't get to go on, but it looked insane.
Closed.
It looked so good.
It looked
really good. Yeah, it looked really good.
It was a bit like Tidal Wave in a way.
Kind of, but it had some decent theming to it. It looked like it had a decent like shed going on, but sheds on water rides usually mean theming. James, have you got a number there?
Can't find anything about the cost of it.
Really? Not even on Wikipedia?
Nothing.
ALTIR. Wonder if it's in my video. I did a video on it.
That's the thing. The thing with our parks is they like to boast. They like to flex how much they paid, and they use that as like a marketing ploy.
It is. Yeah,
I don't really see. I don't know. Someone correct me. I'm probably completely wrong, but I don't see Universal saying Velocicoaster cost this much. Like, look how good it is.
No, I genuinely can't find
$1.5 billion probably Velocicoaster.
Yeah, I can't find it.
That information's usually there, but they don't.
Yeah,
they don't flex it. Whereas
or anything.
Where it's forced down like our necks. Like
I mean, they force the cost of the swarm down our throats.
At the same time, though, a park of the level of Universal or even like a Busch Gardens or etc. etc. Their work speaks for itself.
Yeah,
to a degree.
I mean, if you type in the Swarm Thought Park cost, it's not even you have to click an article. Google has them boxes that show you the information exactly what you typed in. It comes up in bold 18 million GBP.
There you go. 18 million pounds.
There
you go. 18 million for the Swarm. So like there's a B&M wing coaster.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing, was that the cost for the length of it? I would sure hope that it wasn't 18 million.
That's got to be the island. That's got to be the theming, the station, the fire. Like
of course, Daily Mail put it as 20 million.
They've got a plane. They've got a lorry, like just on its side. Do you know what I mean? Like
ambulance.
You can see like where the money has gone with that. Like if that is including all that, which I'm sure it is.
The fence around it's massive as well. I bet that cost a bit.
It's
a weird thing to say, but I bet it did. Like if you're on RCT and you got to 17.9 million, and you're trying to put the fences in, and you can't put fence down because you haven't got enough money. Like you can just imagine clicking it, it's going.
Oh goddamn!
You can't put the fence down.
I guess my peeps are gonna die.
Jamie just Jamie just said it. B&M is expensive, but the thing is, like, I can understand a park wanting to pay that because they are, for the most part, very reliable. Throughputs are normally like amazing on them. Like, I mean, you go to you go to Nemesis and like you can get through that queue. Like if that's all the way up, not into the extended queue line, but all the way up, you can get on there in like 15 minutes. Like it's insane. And it's like the Swarm is so good in terms of like the throughput and stuff. You can see why it would
be monsters. B&Ms are, aren't they?
Yeah,
just
like
by nature.
Yeah, and that's why they can justify the price.
Even during a pandemic, Nemesis is eating queues massively. Right. So what else have we got to talk about?
Extra Towers weekend.
Yeah, which we got tickets for. We're just trying to see what the whole tier system is saying by the 15th. So
mine's pending.
Yeah, yours is pending.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Mate.
Yeah, you will. We'll get
I've
if we can go.
Yeah. I think we'll be all right.
Right.
I do think we'll be able to go. Yeah. I think if it does happen, because look, Blackpool are in tier 3 and they're still open. So it's like if everyone's in tier 3, then there's not even going to be that moral dilemma of like.
Yeah, if anything, it's going to be easier for all in tier 3, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think we're eventually, for me, I think the plan is that we all will be in tier 3 anyway. It's just we're trying to slow it down so it doesn't have as.
What the hell's tier 4, Ben? No, we're putting that on us. What's tier 4?
No, because Scotland has up to tier 5. No, tier 4. So Scotland have 5 tiers, but their numbering starts from 0, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What? Oh,
for Scotland,
it doesn't. Let's say like it don't make sense.
So stupid.
I think it's deliberately confusing.
Yeah,
it is. It definitely is.
It's like an inside joke. It's like an inside handshake. I've been saying
this the entire time. Like, have a tier system. Why are you choosing different numbers and a different amount of tiers to us?
Why is Wales?
Where's your tier 2 compared to ours?
I don't understand, right? We were just talking about this off air. Like, if you drive in America from was it Land's End to John O'Groats? Yeah, if you drove that in America, you'd be in the same state.
Yeah.
That's the whole of the UK. Like,
I don't. Yeah, this is why I'm saying. This is why I think like the tier system.
We in regional lockdowns.
With like stopping the spread, it's to do with just trying to keep everything open as long as possible.
Days ago.
John said tier 4, you literally can't talk and must sit in a bath with no water.
Apparently they were discussing a tier 4.
You have to hand your plugs into the post office. You can't fill them.
This time next year, we'll be in tier like 25.
Yeah.
And we'll just be like, okay. It's like, do you guys ever watch In the Loop? Not In the Loop. It's called In the Loop, but it's was the political show. What's it called?
I know what you mean.
Have I got news for you?
No. It's the film was called In the Loop. What was I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a spoof, like kind of thing about the politics, inside politics and stuff. And it literally is one of them episodes now where you can imagine them sitting down going, hold on, are we in tier two? No, they're in tier two. Okay, so we're into they've just made it so ridiculous. It's mental.
I know I mentioned this before we started recording, but I don't know if anyone else saw the tweet put out by some news broadcaster saying that Bristol went into tier 1+.
Tier 1+. Why?
Now available on iPlayer.
No, do you know what's going to happen? The government's going to branch out into making phones, because that is some phone making, like,
tier 1 FE.
Yeah. That's what I said.
We've got the 1 Plus, and the 1 FE.
That is ridiculous.
The more affordable
the 1
version.
Plus 3 is coming out next, so they get into tier 3. It's stupid,
tier
man.
4A.
I just want to go Towers. One last day at Towers. Like, I really do.
So it's what is it? So the last
14th and the 15th.
14th and the 15th. I think general sale tickets are still available. Pass holders have all gone.
Pass.
And I know for a fact people are moaning. People keep doing this moaning about, like, I have a pass holder. Why is the ticket threshold so low for pass holders? I know for a fact that there's way more pass holder tickets than there are general sale tickets. The difference is shock horror. The people who have pass holders really like Towers. They're going to be the first to book onto it. Like, that's how it works. Like,
and it's not just annual pass holders; it's season pass holders as well.
Season pass holders. It's the whole thing. But there's
basically
way more.
If you pay a tenner extra on entry to Alton Towers, you're a season pass holder. There's going to be loads of season pass holders.
There's loads. There's no like there's more. There's more than the probably.
Yeah, because they did that whole thing of, like, upgrade your
10 quid
thing. Yeah,
now it's 12 quid now, I think, something like that. But it's cheap. Like, if you go once, you can just go. Oh yeah, it's great. It's really good, to be fair. It is good.
But then, like, apparently Merlin are stealing our money. Like, apparently that's the thing.
No one's stealing our money.
This is what gets me.
Merlin stopped me paying for my membership during the lockdown. Like,
and even after.
Yeah,
we didn't pay for 2 months. Was it 1 or 2 months after the parks opened?
Yeah,
we still weren't paying it.
I worked out that we pay like 45p a day for that pass, right? If you're a premium pass member, 50p season is way lower than that. So 50p a day for being able to go to, like, obviously, like, you had limited on days you can go at the minute. But they've even got the Twilight Pass for every single day. Like, say if you're at work but you want to go on the evening, you can get a Twilight Pass where you
which
can go.
Which is a great idea.
If you only if you live close by or whatever. But you can do that now as well, and that's all still available. Like, you can still do that, because Towers know that a lot of people go in the evening. But it's not just a Merlin problem. I think it's all the different parks. It's like people moan like, oh, I paid for my Blackpool pass and like, I'm not even gone. Like, I'm like, that's you.
Shut up.
That sounds like a you problem.
That's you. You're not
like I've had years where I've got a pass, used it to the point where it's covered the cost of me getting a pass for that year, and not used it again.
Yeah.
I wasn't moaning about the fact that I didn't go to a theme park when they were open.
I've done the same thing. I've been, like, to Towers 4 times on a Million Annual Pass Premium.
And like, I get the fact that, yes, there are tickets that aren't available, but they've given you plenty of chances to try and actually get at least a day.
Yeah.
If you really want to go, you just pay the 35 quid. Like, if it's that. Because, if you're gonna go on an annual pass and then you're gonna get a fast track anyway, you're only saving 20 quid. So just pay the 35 quid. It's not
like
much.
you get discounts on pretty much everything.
Yeah,
like,
just buy a cereal. Just buy some cereal and you'll get.
Like, you can like it's mental, and it's like same with Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Like, I mean, they even give you the option to, like, defer. Like, when lockdown ended, they give you the option to defer your pass till next year. Like that is incredible. Like they're just like, don't worry, if you don't want to come this year, you can still just activate it next year. Like that's great. Like
Yeah.
there's still people moaning, going, like saying like that they're not getting the money's worth, and it's like because you're not going, like but I don't know. John just said, he renewed his Blackpool Pleasure Beach Pass for 2021 today for 54 quid. 54 quid.
54 quid. What?
I've been to loads since reopening on WoW weekends. I'm definitely robbing them. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, man. 100%.
We did ours for 40, I think 45 quid for next year. This was like months ago. It's mental.
That's straight up theft.
Yeah, it literally is. And then, but every time we're there, if we're getting food, whatever, we're paying like at Towers. If you went to the Welcome Inn, you get discount on pints. Not many people do that. You can get discount on beer if you go to the Welcome Inn bar. So it's all about just getting the most of it.
I love that little pub. It's so good.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's lovely. Good. It's really nice.
Where's that one?
Next to, I'm sure I've took you there. Have you took you there?
Opposite Wicker Man.
Don't think I have took you.
Oh yeah, no, I know of it. I know of it.
Costa, that Costa stall. It's literally like in front of it. Well, yeah. Anyway, guys, just a quick one to everyone that's watching now. Next week on the show, we have Digital Dan. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. On the 5th of November, Digital Dan's coming on. And then we've got some very, very special guests lined up for the weeks after that.
We're not saying who.
No, we're not saying who. We're not saying
but really good.
But it's going to be awesome.
Excited.
And you don't want to, trust me, you don't want to miss. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell, follow us on all our socials as well, because we're going to be hyping the next month up like a lot across all our social media. So it's going to be really good. And make sure you subscribe to ParkSpill as well. Links are in the video description. But yeah, so we've had some questions on Twitter. Favorite Halloween and scare maze. I'll start with James. James, what's yours? Halloween event and scare maze.
I haven't been to many Halloween events.
I was going to say, I'm so glad you didn't say me first, because
I'm the same, man.
I'd say
I just ride the coasters at night.
Event, I'd say. See, does Broadwitch count as an event?
Yeah.
I'd say so, because they are just a farm during the year, literally. But Broadwitch, because, like, to be fair, some of their mazes are really, really good. But, actual maze-wise, probably My Bloody Valentine when it was at Thorpe.
Oh,
during the Lionsgate. I really enjoyed that one.
What was the setup for that? What was it about? Like,
I'm trying to get on mine is.
It was just kind of like you were going through kind of like some of the scenes from the movie. So there was like a hospital kind of setup and just loads of people that have been murdered.
Okay.
But yeah, like they used kind of like the Experiment 10 type of thing where they broke you down into like literally just you as yourself in individuals. They broke you away from groups. So at first you get to this one point where they get half of you to go one route, half to another, and then you got to another point where it was again you got split down and it just kept working your way down. You eventually kind of reformed before the end of the maze, but yeah, it was really good.
That sounds really cool.
What about you, Sean? Then what about you?
Oh man, I could talk for hours on this subject.
I know we need to do a scare maze like special.
Absolutely love it. I'd say up until recently, my favourite scare maze of all time was the Sanctuary on Scarefest. For those it was pretty like legendary now, but it was the scare maze to do with the Smiler, the Ministry of Joy.
Before the Smiler opened, they had it. Well, and just slightly after it opened.
It was,
they did a little.
I think it was 2012, 2013, and 2014 was its last year. But it was absolutely brilliant. It was like the best way they utilised that Towers ever. Was the fact that like obviously you had you queued up in the conservatory where you go into the attic now, and then the only difference is that you went further on through you didn't go upstairs, you went further on and then down to the basement, and it was just so eerie. It was like,
that's cool.
It was just brilliant. And like we did a run through where Dr. Cowman, the character from who's in all the adverts
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he actually like was in the maze. Like he was the one who talked to you.
Wow.
I think they had two different guys.
Cool.
Good old Jerry.
We managed
I like Jerry.
we managed to get him. And it just added to like the realism of it, and it was just a really creepy. And I had this one scene where it was like those brainwashing you, where it's in this big long white corridor with these strobes and smoke, and it just was mental. But it was just like the creepiest feeling, and like this, I just remember the smells they pumped through it, which was like the surgical, like
dentist.
like it just was horrible. Like, but it was just so well done, and the best way they utilized them towers, and the music was spot on. But it's been beaten recently, and that was, which I talked about last week, was the village at Extreme Scream. Just the best maze I've ever done. I don't think anything will beat that, because the lengths they've gone to make that so realistic. For those of you who don't know the village, it's basically like, it's actually Extreme Scream Park, which is in Mountain Mowbray it's in Leicestershire, and it's like you go into the woods, and then you go in through a house. So they've built an actual like house. It's all been built, and you go through the house outside into another track into the woods again, and then you go into like a workshop, and then out into the woods again into a school, a proper school. And then out of that, then you go for like a tunnel, and then it leads into like an old like laboratory. And you come out of that and you go into a church scene at the end. They actually have built like a corrugated church thing, and it's just mad. It's just so crazy.
That's crazy.
And
That
it just feels like you're actually. What I love about scare mazes is that it's like being in a horror film. If they can push you that much, and that one just did it the best.
How much
I've ever
space
had
does this maze take up? I know it's called the village, so I can
well, the
imagine
thing
it's
is,
quite expensive.
it's at Twin Lakes, so they're like a family theme park. It's one of these theme parks that you can't go to unless you have a kid. But so they have this one side of the park which just has the scare mazes there permanently. Like, they don't tear them down and pop. They're just there permanently, so they can just
wait. So with the scare event, are you able to go without kids?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because that's a bit BS. Like, you have this amazing maze. I don't have a kid. I can't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'd say that was my favorite now. But John just pointed out about Scare Kingdom. We went there like last week, and amazing, like so good. And they've got one. So my lights just died. But they've got two really good mazes there, in my opinion, which is Manor Mortis, which is like very much like the attic, but way longer, way more intense, and it's just got different scenes in it, and I never normally say a beautiful maze, but it is actually like stunning. Like, it's just so creepy. The atmosphere they do in there is amazing. And also there's one called Body Snatchers, which is it's basically set around a waxworks museum. And I have this thing where I absolutely hate waxworks. I think they're so creepy.
Yeah,
and to see them all coming alive, it's just the creepiest thing I've ever
Why don't Two Swords do something like that?
They should, really, but they're all about the family now, because they got rid of the dungeons that used to have in there, didn't they? Where they had like all the different killers and stuff.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Like Madame Two Swords,
scare maze in there.
They had a scare maze.
Yeah.
We went through
scare
it.
maze in there.
We went through it, didn't we?
You had an option of going around it, but they did have a year-round scare maze with actors in there.
It was pretty good, actually. I quite enjoyed it. It was pretty intense at some points as well. But, I think my favorite maze is, just from my memory, was the first time I ever did one, which was Terror of the Towers, like way back when I was a kid.
That's like the OG, isn't it? Really,
man,
for the UK.
I it's my favorite because I've never crapped myself so much in my life. Like just going through anything. And just the memories of like the build up, that my heart was because it's the first time you go in a maze, the first time you ever do one. You don't know what's going to happen. You think you're going to be murdered. You think all kind of things are going to happen because you don't see people coming out. Like it's mad. It's mental. It's like the first time you see Oblivion, you're like, holy crap! Look at the size of that thing. Like it's mental. And I just really, really hold on to that. Like if anything ever makes me feel like that, then I'm happy. It's done its job.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I love scare mazes because it is like that's just so unique. There's nothing else like them. It's like
No.
live theater,
Yeah.
with like a ghost train. Like if they're done really well, it's like one of the best experiences. Like sometimes I'd take them over a coaster. Like that's that for me.
Yeah,
It's that good.
I really enjoy scare mazes. Although I feel like now where I've done quite a lot of them, you kind of build up a tolerance.
You do.
So
I
the
think
kind
this
of tactics that they use, so you end up ruining it for yourself if you do too many.
What I've noticed is because I had that. I had
the
that
coasters as well. Though.
I had one.
Yeah.
Me and my friend we were going through Cabin in the Woods at Thorpe. My friend barely ever done scare mazes. Absolutely terrified, like hiding in corners, and obviously the actors were just ripping into him for that. I was stood there laughing the entire maze. I got told shush by one of the actors.
You were laughing at me in the dungeons, the London dungeon. You were laughing your head off at me. You were like, stand here. I'm like, why am I standing here? Jack the Ripper scene, like literally a knife there. Like, I was like, cheers, James. Thanks for that.
Yeah, there's a scene that they because they go to the same positions.
Yeah, they go to the same positions, and he literally put me on an X.
I knew. I was like, okay, that's he come.
That was a really good shot. That was a really good That was a really good. That bit in the Sweeney Todd bit as well was really cool.
I'd love to have done that.
The footsteps, the footsteps walking by you.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
It's quite fun.
What I love about this year is the fact that, because like you said, James, like you do build up a tolerance to him. I think for me, if I don't do him for a while, then the tolerance goes down again. But I think what I've noticed this year is
resets.
Not only that, but because now it's all social distance, you can only go with that they actually batch you correctly, how they should have done all along. So if you don't see anyone else in the maze, you're not with a bunch of randomers. Because the thing with what used to spoil it for me was like, if I was in a big group and I was like, if someone's more scared than you, it then makes you less scared. I found this. It's like you're like, oh, that, you know, if there's a girl in your group and she's screaming her head off, then it's like suddenly you just feel like brave and you go, nah, it's not that bad.
And then the actors focus on them as well.
Yeah, and they don't focus on you, they focus on the most scared person. So I used to be able to get away with, even though I was internally like shitting it, like I used to just be like pretend I wasn't scared and they wouldn't bother me. But you can't really do that now because it's, especially when it's just me and Joe, they just focus on you no matter what.
Yeah.
And they just keep on going. And plus what I've been noticing with the UK scare mazes now is that they're using a lot of like distraction tactics. So they'll light up certain bits, or they'll put in like perspex window, or like a box that you think someone's going to come out of there, or you're bound to pop out.
You're focusing on that so much.
From behind
at Scare Kingdom, what they do, and they do this a lot at Extreme Scream, is they'll drape dummies over, full-size dummies with things, and you're like, that's someone in there, and then suddenly it will come out of nowhere. So it's like they're getting so clever at doing these jump scares that when you're going through the mazes now, you're like, you do not understand.
I saw I had one. It was at Broaditch actually, and it was like in this little kind of camper van thing, and it was kind of like a circus horror type thing. And they had this giant Jack-in-the-Box in the corner of the room that was closed.
Yeah,
and you're like, someone's gonna come out of there. Someone's gonna come out of there. No, they're on top of a bunk bed.
Yeah,
in the on the other side of the room. No one expected that. But then. No, there was actually someone in Jack-in-the-Box. They distracted you with the bunk bed, and then all of a sudden they come out of there as well. It was just like, Jesus Christ, what's going on?
I love that.
It was crazy.
So one thing that always gets me, even though it's a cheap trick, is like I've started seeing them in a lot of them now, where they have like the rotating little like whips at the on the floor.
Oh, I hate them. The ankle whips.
It's like
I just hate
they just
them.
Come out of nowhere, and you're just like, what is that? And then it's just like, hold on then. But yeah, go on, Mikhile.
What's your favorite, Mikhile?
Yeah, it's funny because like I scare mazes and Halloween events are really not my forte whatsoever, to be honest. Like I went to my first one in 2018, but I think I have to say Howler Scream at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I got to see it when I worked out there in 2018, and it was like I knew I was gonna have to go at some point. It's like Halloween events have never really been my thing, but I decided to go and check it out with a bunch of friends, and it really wasn't as bad as I was making it up to be in my head. But that was partially because in terms of scare actors in the mazes, it was really understaffed. So like each maze didn't have a lot of opportunities for scares in them at all because of the lack of scare actors in.
That's
in
quite
there.
disappointing then.
Yeah, but that was probably the only thing that I could say was disappointing about it, though, because how like the way they made up for that in like the set design of each of the mazes and in the scare zones as well. I would say the set design in the scare zones throughout the areas of the park were to an even higher standard than they were in the mazes, which I suppose, depending on the way you look at it, if scare mazes is what you value, like I imagine most people do, it could be a bit of a drawback. But for me personally, as someone who's not really, got that much of an affinity to scare mazes, but I really dig set design.
Yeah.
Like and just like atmospheric immersion and stuff like that. I was in heaven. It was so good. It was
that's the thing with
so
them.
good.
Like I think if you're scared, not scared, but if you don't fancy it and you just want to do the night rides, that's cool. But I would advise like just try and step out your comfort zone and do one. Just try
100%.
Yeah, just try one.
Like,
because I mean, it's not just about the jump scares. It's about the story. It's about the combination of the music that's going on.
Yeah.
Like
for sure,
it's different to everything else that's going on.
That's why I can do like a lot of there's a lot of the tower mazes. I've done Mine Tour so many times. That still does get me, to be honest. But the attic, like I'd never say it's like massively scary, but it's about the atmosphere.
About being there,
like,
right?
It's like Thorpe. I loved Thorpe's Fright Nights this year. I was never once scared at that place, but this like for me with Thorpe, it was more to do with the actors' interaction was really fun. Like the scare zones are really cool.
It did look fun.
It was just funny.
Really
it was just something different to have the coasters going on around you as well.
Like I am developing I say developing. I'm just slowly getting used to doing scare mazes and stuff. And like there was that one. There was Howler Scream at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and then there was King's Dominion an hour away, which was running their Halloween Haunt event as well. So I got to go to that one as well, and their mazes were a bit more well staffed, so there were more opportunities for scares in them, and like just from the perspective of appreciating everything that goes into the production and execution of a scare maze, just looking at it that way. If there's anyone that is kind of scared at the thought of going into scare mazes and stuff, looking at it that way has helped me, and will continue to help me going forward.
You won't probably meet many people who are as wimpy as I am when it comes to scare mazes. Like I use Jo as like she always has
a human shield.
I saw you two come out of Passage.
Yeah, I am the like Jo always takes a piss out of me because like she's like, oh, in that maze I looked at your face and you were like. I'm constantly like that. I am so like scared of him, but I love it. Like at first I wasn't like when I first was thinking about going in one.
I
was like, why? How is this fun? This isn't fun. Like, how is this fun?
Yeah.
But then it's like you said, Mikhile, it's like you go in there and actually like
it's the adrenaline.
It's the adrenaline's really addictive. I never find the coasters scary anymore. Like I never have that.
No.
I miss that feeling of looking at a coaster going, I'm actually pretty nervous to get on it, or like I miss that feeling.
The only one that still kind of gets me is if I haven't been on stealth for a long time.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah,
the anticipation on that launch, I'm like, oh God.
I think Red Force.
That's a little bit like a jump.
James.
That is like a bit like a jump scare, though, isn't it? In the terms of you don't know when it's going to happen. Like you know it's coming, but you don't.
But that's the thing. I just forget the sheer actual force of it as well. If I haven't done it in a while.
Definitely.
But I just love that anticipation now with scare mazes, because nothing else makes me feel like that. Where I'm just like, but what, like you said, Mikhile, like what makes me go in it? Well, even now when I'm about to go in, you know, an actor comes out and goes, "Get in there." I'm like, what am I doing? But then I'm like, I'm here. I'm here for the.
Like, nope, backing out now. Nope.
See you later.
And like to your point that you made earlier about mazes over here getting more creative with the scares and stuff, I really appreciate that. Like, so like it may be daunting to like think about putting yourself in the actual experience, but once I'm in it, I may notice those kind of things that you mentioned, you know, like distraction tactics and stuff like that. I really have a lot of appreciation for just creativity in delivering an experience. So like if I was to experience something like that, then I'd probably be scared. I mean, I don't know how I would react. I've not done enough scare mazes to know really, but there's always a part of me that would be like, okay, that was done really well.
Yeah,
it's I really like that because of the quality of the execution.
Definitely.
The fear is, you know, when you come out of a maze, you forget about the fear, and I always think, I'm so glad I did that just to experience this
everything
set.
Yeah.
Like what the efforts that's gone in, like it's just so good. Like when I think about when I first did Scarefest, that was like the first mazes I did was like Scarefest, probably in like 2012, I think. Like it was done on the cheap. It was just like, it was always the same thing. It was like circus space, like just very cheapo style.
Yeah.
Everything is just it's so much. You know, we're not talking universal level, but we're still talking like really well done. Like it's just going into these places, and it's like they are like dark. That's why I love Scarefest, because it's like suddenly Towers has got like 5 like dark rides. That's how I see it. I'm like they've actually got some dark rides through, and this, because I just love that they just focus on the smells and everything. And it's even like the terrain. Like they've even thought about everything in terms of like the difference in terrain. Like when we went, it was in Scare Kingdom the other day. Like you went into a room and it was done up like a garden, and it's like they just put gravel on the floor, and it's like just having that change of like terrain just makes you uneasy, and it just puts you in it. And it's just I find it incredible.
That's a really good idea.
I'm a lover of horror films as well. So that
just going back to the point of like creative delivery and stuff as well. Like not even just in the scare mazes as well. So check this out. At Howler Scream at Busch Gardens, what they did, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think about this, given that the mazes were kind of understaffed. But on the coasters, they had scare actors riding coasters with guests. So like
that's awesome.
They'd load a train. They'd have 2. So I worked on Apollo's Chariot that year at Busch, and
nice.
So like we'd be loading the train up and stuff. There'd be 2 actors over on the exit side of the platform, waiting to see if there were any empty seats to just slide into. And they just
single rider actors.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
and they just jump in next to just random guests and start chatting to them and stuff. And then they go off and ride with them, which I think is a super cool thing to do.
That's awesome.
And then just like really little cool creative ideas, maybe away from the scare mazes as well, to, you know, bring a bit of, you know, multifaceted kind of characteristic to the whole event holistically. And then like you've got like Tully's Shocktoberfest. Didn't they have like a tractor ride with scare actors on it and stuff? Or something like that.
Yeah, Broadwich have done the same. They've had you sit in a trailer, and they do have some actors on the trailer with you, and you go through different scenes, and there are actors at each of the scenes as well.
Yeah.
There's an event called Spooky World that I've been seeing a lot of things about recently. Like we were going to go to it, but for me, like I looked into it a little bit more, and I wasn't a fan of, like, apparently they're very good at scares. Like they're not good at theming, and they like admit themselves that they're better at scares and theming. But I was like, I'm about the theming, really. That's what I'm about.
Yeah.
So we ended up didn't go, but like some people have been recently, and they've got one of them like tractor rides where you get in the back, and they have water cannons. And everyone's moaning about it. And they're like, it's October, and they're shooting you with water cannons. At me.
Jesus.
Like,
Well,
it's a bit mad. Like that
there's one maze that I wanted to do years ago. This was back in 2013. They first did it. I don't think they do it anymore, but it's called Pitch Black. And it was completely different concept to usual mazes, because usually it's a set path through it. But what these guys did, there are no lights whatsoever in the maze. The only bit of light that you get is one glow stick per group.
Oh my god!
The first room you are
awesome.
in, the first room you're in is an actual maze. Has dead ends. Only has one exit, and that exit is behind a moving wall as well.
That's just brutal.
So you can spend up to like 40 minutes in that first maze, but
Yeah,
you go through this. There's actors everywhere, mannequins as well, which you think might be actors because you've only got a glow stick.
Yeah.
But once you get through there, there's more actual mazes. There's ones of cages. You have to crawl through tunnels. The end of and all throughout this time, at any point, the actors can take the glow stick from you. There is one part towards the end. They'll always take the glow stick, and you have to just hold on to a rope and try and find your way out.
And
it just looks so good.
James, did you do? Have you done mine tours before?
No, I've not done
Because
Scarefest.
what the best thing about that was going back to your they can take it off you at any time. Was they had the lamps on your helmets. They were called Magic Lantern Company. They're from. And
they the remote control ones.
So it's like you're going around and it's pitch black in there, and it's like going on and off, and then it's every now and then it will just go completely off, and then it'll come back on, and someone's in your face. Like it's just mental. But did any of you do subspecies?
No.
Yes. Oh wait, no.
I wish.
No.
Not Subterra.
Subterra. That's what I was like. Yeah. Oh no.
I didn't know.
Subspecies is
subspecies walking into my head when you said that though.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Subterra. I was like, wait, no.
I did something in Subterra, but I think it was like an extreme event or something.
No.
No, so
Subterra, they ended up amping it up at one point and had actors in there.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah, I think that was the one. I think I did that. Yeah, that was cool.
That was good. But no, subspecies, they've got that's been at Tower Scarefest for like the last, it's like 4 or 5 years.
A long time, I think.
But that was so extreme, because that was one where they would split you off. Like you had to go through it by yourself. So you'd line up on the one wall. I don't think it's actually coming back now, which is a shame. But they'd line you up against the wall when you go in there, and the whole backstory is that it's like a nuclear fallout, and and there's all these monsters in this, and they're all like betting on you. So you go in there, and they've got this pre-show where it's like all these screens up on the wall, and they're just like basically treat you as like race horses. And
yeah,
like,
I did hear about this.
And they would line you up against the wall, and there'd be loads of doors, and there'd be like 3 people out of like the entire group who happened to me every single time, where the door behind you would just open, and the arms would come out and just carry you off. And then like that happened. So yeah, that happened to me every single time. So I'd have to go through it by myself. And there's some rooms in that are just pitch black, and like you had to find a rope and go along it. But the thing is, in there is like they would have moving. It was an actual maze, so you would go to dead ends, and then it's like you'd turn around and there'd be like an alien there. And then like they would then move the wall out the way, and so you'd be going around for like 10 minutes, like being like, there's no way out of this place, and then they'd just move a wall and you'd get out. And then I just remember in there they always had this tunnel. They had multiple ways you could get out, but most of the time you'd end up at the tunnel, so you'd have to crawl onto your hands and knees. And then like there would be people like in the tunnel as well, like who'd come out. There'd be different ways to get out. And then like I just remember this one time where someone just grabbed my ankles and just pulled me back.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I'm nearly there. I could see the light, and then it's just like it got pulled back. I can see whether or not doing it this year, but that was just like that was one of them mazes, like you say, James, when you get to that point where you just like my tolerance to them as like I'm not really get scared of it. You go in there and you're by yourself.
Yeah, I want to do a maze like that. That's
You're
the
just
thing.
like there's nothing else like it. It's just insanity. And then at the end, they'd have like the chainsaw finale where, like, the guy, whoever was there, would never let you pass. You would literally just have to run past, and he would just brush up against your leg. And it's just, yeah, it's insane.
That sounds so good. That sounds awesome, man.
That sounds intense.
Sounds fun.
Time John's saying, anyone seen the latest vlog from The Retreat? So The Retreat is saying thoughts on kind of experience. So The Retreat is, I've seen a vlog about this, for a couple of them actually. It was basically where you stay overnight. It used to be, I think it used to be, you used to stay in a tent, and then like you'd get basically messed around with all.
Oh, I think I have heard about that.
I think I've heard about that.
They've changed it this year to be like you're in like a log cabin type thing, and then like you go there, and then it's like the player film, like it's your own log cabin, so you have like a proper nice double bed, it's proper nice accommodation, but and then it's
you don't
like,
get sleep much.
You watch Scream, and then like, but like the movie they've put on for you has like like now and again will just come up with like little clips of to show you like about the maze, like where it's just like there's a character called like the Scarecrow, and they'll just give you a message, and then there's like a hidden like mobile phone in the bathroom that's been tucked away, and then you have to pick it up and you get told to go somewhere, and then you end up and it's just insane. Like it looks so crazy.
That is
mental. I don't know if I'm that hardcore
because I heard about the one where you're in a tent, and it is you go get all set up in a campground and you're just left there, and so you just go about your business. You go and get into the tent, and throughout the night, unannounced, people will turn up. So like people start hitting on the tent, people come into the tent and drag you out and get you to go somewhere else to do whatever screwed up task that they've got for you.
I think for me, like
Sean, like you'd cry, says Joe.
I like the idea of it. I wouldn't be able to do it, I tell you that much. I would just be, because once I'm in bed, I want to be in bed. I don't want to be messed with.
Yeah, that's the only thing with it. It's just like I'll be all comfy. I'm like, I don't want to get up. I can't be arsed. I'm tired.
Also, I just feel like you're taking out the element.
Do you reckon anyone's done that?
Yeah,
they've just
definitely thrown a right hook.
They've gone to it and just slept the night.
Mate, like that happened at Thorpe Park multiple times when I went there.
Oh,
like
God,
they maze kept getting closed down because people were getting hit. Like that's the problem. Like
that's the thing. If you these people that go through the mazes and do that, they know how they react when they get scared. Why purposefully go into a place where you're going to get scared and lash out like that?
It's probably because they're with like a girl they've just met and they want to impress him.
Oh yeah, I'm going in with my missus. Yeah.
And...
oh my god!
Problem is,
if you're listening on Spotify, you need to watch that back on YouTube. That was funny.
And the girl's just there like, what are you doing? It's not even that scary. What are you doing?
But the thing is, if that's just the thing with like places like Thorpe, if you actively try and attract a certain type of crowd by putting on like Love Island nights or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, Love Island nights.
Like, don't be surprised when your actors are getting hit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way it goes, really.
Crazy.
It's one of them. But I'd like to try one of them experiences. But I just feel like for me, them type of experiences, they're very different in terms of like not what I go to a scare event for. I go, like I say, I'm most impressed and immersed by the theming of something and like just creating something from scratch. Like a lot of the mazes you go into, it's like a warehouse, like a barn from the outside. They normally put like some cool facade in the front, but then you go into it and it's just like, it's amazing. It's like Darkest Depths.
I was literally just about to say that's why I'm most intrigued about, in terms of, I've never been to Scarefest before, but in terms of the mazes on offer there, Darkest Depths is the one I'm most intrigued by, because I've just heard so much about how well done it is in terms of its design and stuff.
Yeah, it's like if you see like Darkest Depths, when you saw it, like when it was in the courtyard, you could go on the sky ride and look down below, and it was just a series of shipping containers. You go inside it and you're like, how is this shipping container?
Yeah.
Like what they did with it was incredible. Yeah. Like it was just so impressive. It's like next level like theming.
Well, that's the thing. Like, shipping containers are just so easy to use for a scare event because it's a hallway which you can move,
Yeah.
and also relatively easy to store if you have space for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can leave all the theming in place, attached to the walls, and just remove the movable parts and go store it for next year.
That's what. Yeah.
That's why they use it, and it just makes easy. Because if you think about that, like every year having to build hallways out of like plywood and stuff,
Yeah.
it would take so long. Forklift, shipping container. Oh, there you go. There's a hallway. It's done.
Yeah, it's just the thing with it is like it's just.
But from the outside, it looks like a shipping container.
It just looks like a
Inside,
shipping
it
container.
does
You go
not
inside,
feel like
and
it.
it just seems like an infinite room because the way they've themed it up and stuff, and it just doesn't seem like Portaventura when we did the scare mazes there was one which was in the theme park that closes for like October, so they just made one long scare maze in the entire place. Had people with them water jet packs just like coming out of the water at you.
What?
It was
That's cool.
What?
they had,
Crazy.
yeah, it was mental,
The last
man.
time I
wanna
saw
try-
someone
wanna
one of
try
them
one
was
of
on
those so
YouTube,
bad.
and
Yeah.
they were just like doing backflips on them and flying
Yeah,
away
it
and like
was just
dying.
cool. They had jet skis going around the pools and stuff. They was dressed like pirates. It was just hilarious. But it was but they had a lot of like shipping containers, but they hadn't done much. It was sponsored by Monster as well, and Monster was like everywhere, which was annoying. But but with them, for example, you could tell they were shipping containers because they hadn't done much to them. But yeah, you go to like the ones like Alton Towers or even like I say, like Scare Kingdom and Extreme. Like a lot of them are just in warehouses, corrugated barns, and they've just built inside, and it's amazing what they can do, really.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, I think it's just incredible. Like Mikhile was saying, in terms like it really shows like the lengths of like creativity. Like what we love in terms of like immersive rides. I feel like I've always said like a good ride that's good theming. It's like a cross between like theatre and like I don't know, like theatre. It's basically theatre, but then with scare mazes, I'd say it's even more so because you're relying on the people to kind of bring the scares and bring the entertainment and
so much more intensely interactive, isn't it?
Yes, massively. And and then again it brings the fact that they can be that's why they can be so subjective, because it really does depend on the run through you have. Like I think we was going to talk about my trip to Chessington, weren't we?
Yeah.
When I did Creepy Caves last week.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god, like Creepy Caves.
Yeah, I saw the
that looks
video.
mental.
It looks crazy.
It was
For
insane.
Chessington.
For Chessington, right? We got invited by the park to go along. They give us
nice one.
tickets, but they were like they're £5 anyway, so really good pricing for it. And we were in the queue, and like Kieran Adams, Jack Silkson, Kieran, like he was behind us, and like we was talking to him, and I was like, this better be better than Roots of Evil at Thorpe? And he was like, mate, you don't understand. You're just saying that, you're just saying that. So me and Joe went in, and I was expecting something like Darkest Depths, where it was like really nicely themed, but it was like, it's a 10+ maze, right? You go in there, man. It was one of the most intense mazes I've ever done. Like, it just is. It was like, because the story behind it is like you're in a facility, and then these rebels come and take it over, and like they've got these light up masks.
Yeah, like from the Purge.
Like it's like the X eyes and stuff.
Yeah, the Purge masks.
Yeah, that's it, the Purge masks, and but they just come out of nowhere. I've never seen that many actors in one maze. Like they were just everywhere. And it's like you turn around, you get a jump scare, and you get another jump scare. But I think the best thing about it was like they would just use these tactics where they would just have these bright lights and then smoke, so you couldn't see where you're going. And then they just smash like a corrugated metal wall, and then just like you just get so scared. But yeah, it's like the music in it as well. It's like you go into it, and it's like the first room we went into, they were just blasting Rammstein. It was like, and you're like, what is going on? These throws and these people coming out with baseball bats, at you. And then the last thing was like Prodigy, just playing a fire starter.
Yeah,
and
nice.
all these pyrotechnic things going off in the background, and you're like, where do we go? And then they go off, and you have to go into there. But yeah, it was just like so
Sounds
mad.
awesome.
I can't believe they
sounds
do that
mint.
at Chessington. I don't understand it. Like,
That does sound really good.
That
it's
sounds
just-
so good.
it was amazing. But it was funny because when we come out, like, we was talking to Claire, who's the entertainment manager, and she was like, "Oh, so what did you think?" and like all this sort of stuff. And we was like, "Yeah."
You're just
really good."
whimpering in the corner.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, like that. Even though like I love the village, and that's still my favorite scare maze I've done ever. Like, I had the most jump scares in that maze in Creepy Caves, I've got to say. And I was like, how did like 10-year-olds find this? Because it was like when we did Darkest Depths, that was like similar age maze, and we were in there with kids who were crying. There were so many kids crying in it, and but she was like, no, she was like, I think if you are a parent, you know your kid well enough to be like, are they going to be able to take this? And the good side of social distancing is the actors can decide whether or not they're going to go full on or just go a bit easy. So,
Yeah, maybe because you and Joe are the older age, they ramped it up. Maybe
yeah,
they thought,
they're going to do that. Aren't
I'm
they?
bored of doing all this family stuff. Let's go into Fright Nights
Well,
mode, shall we?
that's the thing. Like, with only you two going through because of them dispatching in household groups, they can, if it is just two adults,
Yeah.
just go crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you went with when it was a normal year, you are going to be with families in there as well.
Yeah, exactly,
so it's
yeah,
going to
that's
seem
true.
a lot more
So
tame.
you probably got a Jack,
probably
and
got
Kieran,
A
and
radically
Archie, and
upscaled
everyone.
version
You
of
probably
it.
got the same experience as what they got.
Yeah.
And you probably got a very, very rare run through of Creepy
Yeah.
Caves, so you should be proper.
I'm
happy
not
about
sure
that,
because we didn't. We were just in there with like everyone else in the queue. It wasn't like a special run through or anything. But I just think they will adapt it to like, say,
yeah,
like
definitely.
like a couple. Like,
Yeah.
they'll just adapt it to that. But
Yeah.
even so, like the theming of it was so dark, and it was like even in terms of like Darkest Depths, it's about pirates, so you can get away with that being kiddie.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh,
we managed to go 2 hours. Here we got it. Is he back? Is he here?
but with that, it was like,
Hey.
like Chessington
There it is.
Adventures.
Jesus.
Glitch.
all we heard was
Yeah, you literally just did the purge. Like,
Joe, if you're watching this, can you get off the internet? But yeah, what I'm saying was, yeah, I never thought I'd hear Ramstein inside Chessington World of Adventures. It's a
that's
bit,
crazy.
but who was it? British Coast Enthusiast. What did you think about Toxic Junkyard? I think I'll rate that so much. If you do it at night, amazing. I didn't think there's many scares in there, but it's not really about the scares. It's about the it's about like the atmosphere in there.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Looks
it's
so
brilliant,
good.
mate. And I got to do it. I was like one of the first people to do it because I filmed it, didn't I? So I remember doing it and being like, "This is an amazing." Like,
Hey, I'm on my
amazing
4G.
I'm on my
I need to stop saying that. Amazing maze.
Right, well, I think that's gonna end it for this week. Yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. And like we said, we've got Digital Dan coming on next week on the 5th at 8 p.m. So make sure you check that out. And then after that, we've got something. Oh, actually, on the 4th, because we've had to move it forward, the Firework Spectacular will be premiering on the channel. So make sure you check that out. That's our firework display we've done. A virtual firework display, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's themed to Alton Towers. It has a story going all the way through it. It's narrated. Yeah, it's to make you guys have some sort of fireworks display or some story or an event that you can all tune into and watch, because obviously we can't go to Towers this year. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure you give us a follow and make sure you check out our YouTube channel as well. This is where we go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to ParkSpill as well. Link in the video description. For now, I've been Luke. He's been Mikhile. He's been Sean from ParkSpill. And he's been James. We've been the CoasterGen Show, and we'll see you next time. Say bye, James.
Bye, James.
Bye, James.